Good afternoon, everybody, and I would like to thank you all for coming out on this very sunny but cold January day. Today I stand in front of you with a deep hole in my heart. This sorrow is not just mine, but it is a collective grief which echoes through the heart of Kane County. Today, we remember more than 1,000 people who have died to the ravages of coronavirus. 2 years ago, the first case of COVID-19 was diagnosed in Illinois. In March of the same year, the Kane County Health Department confirmed Kane County's first death from COVID-19. He was 97 years old, a resident of Aurora, and a member of our greatest generation. 9 months later came a sense of optimism when Kane County received its first shipment of the vaccine. But that optimism, while met with hope, was soon met with the reality of the relentless march of this pandemic. Since that time in 2020, the coronavirus has trampled through our county, afflicting our families, businesses, hospitals, clinics, and schools with its unyielding presence. Hospital maintenance staff, grocery clerks, waitresses, school teachers, small business owners, nurses, and doctors became our heroes, risking their health so that we could somehow maintain a sense of normalcy. Our lives have been forever changed. But time gives the strength to heal. Our grief is so great, but so will be our path forward. To share a meaningful quote from one of history's most beloved children's characters, Winnie the Pooh. If ever there is a tomorrow when we're together, there is something you must remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. But the most important thing, even if we're apart, I'll always be with you. This afternoon, we join together to share in our collective sorrow and to remember the ones that we have loved. May the light of that love always burn brightly in our hearts, and their memory remain forever strong. And with that, I would like to introduce Kathy Fosser, our interim director of our health department.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Kane County Health Department, I'd like to extend our heartfelt thoughts to those families and friends that lost loved ones to COVID-19 these past 2 years. When the pandemic first began in 2020, Kane County Health Department was rapidly shifting its internal human resources to meet the demands of the mitigation efforts. The case investigations, the contact tracing, answering questions for the Kane residents. It was an all hands on deck experience and situation for us. Without going into too much detail, at the beginning of the pandemic, I personally received a call from a resident who was terribly distraught when she lost her husband. And I have to tell you, from one human being to another, it was very devastating and emotionally heartbreaking for me. Now, this is just one instance, right? This is just me. So imagine all the other instances and all the other people out there who have been touched by instances such as these. So as we know, this has been a very tough 2 years for all of us, to say the least. So with that, besides remembering the ones we've lost, I'd like to take this time to also remember those left behind. This includes family, friends, acquaintances, and everyone of the COVID-19 heroes who assisted those dying, sick, and/or hurting. From someone who took care of the COVID patient in the ICU to someone who comforted a family member who lost someone to COVID, you are all to be remembered and commended for the compassion you demonstrated during a challenging time in need. I am truly hopeful on this day, as I stand here, that 2022 will be a better year than these past 2 years. So everyone, be well, thank you, and keep the faith. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Russell. I'm the Kane County Coroner. I've had the pleasure and sometimes not pleasure, but definitely feel a sense of duty, especially the last 2 years, that it's been an honor to be your coroner the last 9 years. Thank you all for coming out today in the cold as we remember those who have lost their lives to this terrible pandemic. Naperville Sun, April 7th, 2020. Kane County Coroner Rob Russell projects his county could have 300 to 1,000 deaths connected to the coronavirus. Originally, this was met with some criticism. However, I didn't predict this to incite any panic or to somehow make myself relevant. I did this because I have always believed that servant leaders must anticipate rather than just react. Leaders react when they must, but always prefer to be prepared. Unfortunately, my prediction was spot on, or I guess would say was a little bit lower than what we have today. Because it was, though, we were prepared as a county to battle it. We are still battling. No one knows when the war of COVID will be won, but I am encouraged that we will win. Although we are here to memorialize all of our Kane County deaths due to COVID, we must remember that each and every one of those numbers was a person, a life. Those individuals we lost were people. They were grandfathers, grandmothers, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, spouses, and so on. They were part of our lives. They were part of our social fabric, and they will never be forgotten. We respect them. We interacted with them. We love them. Although these last 2 years have been challenging, I am reminded that those who are left behind are also left with something other than sorrow. I am reminded that no matter what happens in life, 3 things remain. They will always remain. And that is faith, hope, and love. Faith. Have faith that answers are coming. At some point, the questions of where, when, how, and who, and whatever questions, how it started and all that is concerned to COVID, it will be revealed. Data is being studied even though we have clear lines of delineation in philosophy. Hope. Know that we will get our lives back. We have been through too much already. Tomorrow will be brighter. Love. On a social level, love needs to be defined as kindness. The best way that we can show our love to our community is by being kind to one another. Have your opinions, yes. Have the freedom to disagree, but let's do it with kindness. Let's be patient and kind with each other. Let's learn how to do that better. God bless you all, and remember all the lives lost as people. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to join you today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Congressman Bill Foster. I'm a scientist and a businessman. It's my honor to represent the 11th Congressional District of Illinois in the House of Representatives of the United States. We have all witnessed the devastating impacts of COVID-19 and what it's done to our nation. And nearly 2 years into this pandemic, there is no greater reminder of this than the immense loss of life that we've suffered. Early in this pandemic, I lost my favorite aunt and my favorite uncle within a couple of weeks of each other, both lost in that horrible isolation, hospitalized isolation. That is so much of the tragedy of this pandemic. Isolated from each other, from their families, from their friends, even the doctors that would normally have been caring for them. And so, as we gather here to mark 1,000 lives lost to COVID-19, I just want to express my condolences to everyone, anywhere, who's lost a loved one to this. You are in our thoughts, and we stand with you in these really difficult times. We're all hopeful that this wave may be, in fact, the last. There are signs of hope, but we can't depend on those alone. We have to depend on our common humanity and be sure that whether good news approaches or bad, that we gather together with strength and our willingness to share our grief and share our hope for the future. So thank you all.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Shively. I'm the Executive Director for Fox Valley Hands of Hope, which is your community agency dedicated to no-cost, compassionate support for people who are experiencing grief and loss. It's no secret. The last speaker always repeats what the first one said, that many of us are feeling overwhelmed with sorrow and sadness. Loss under the best of circumstances, even surrounded by the most generous, patient, and purposeful supports, is hard. But this pandemic has wrenched many of those supports away from us, while death itself has continued to assert itself. Last night, I was listening to the story of a new friend who shared that her older sister died from COVID. My friend grew thoughtful, and sadness moved in behind her eyes as she told me how the death was unexpected, too soon, and such a lonely experience for all the family. These stories are repeated over and over, 1,000-fold or more right here in our own county. The immediate loss is my friend's, but the loss is really all of ours. The sadness and sorrow covers us all in waves. Our clients at Fox Valley Hands of Hope come to us with heartbreaking stories of loss on a daily basis. Some of these losses are represented on our own memorial light display at our facility with tags naming loved ones like these: Ashley, Larry, Veronica, Bill, Matthew, Marlon, Chris, Alberto, Mom, and Nana. We love you. When grief is deep and all-consuming, it takes courage to seek a new way forward. It is risky to ask for help. It takes self-compassion to hold hope alongside our sorrow. It takes time and space to endure sorrow and time and space to embrace future possibilities. Unfortunately, we don't provide much time and space in our culture to grieve. We distract and suppress and disassociate from our grief. We rush back looking for a normal that is no longer there. Our grief doesn't just go away. Like squeezing Jell-O, it oozes out in unpredictable ways, reminding us of dreams, hopes, and expectations that won't be fulfilled. James Taylor, remembering a friend after he learned of her unexpected loss, expressed this in his famous song, Fire and Rain. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I would see you again. To grieve well is to wrestle with those lost futures and to reopen to the possibility of new ones. In the midst of our sadness and sorrow represented here, we yearn for hope to break in, which it does if we're able to see it. Sometimes hope just looks like taking the next step, getting out of bed one more time, showing up for your kids in the morning, finishing a small task at work, taking the next breath. Sometimes hope looks like asking for help, giving a friend a call and saying, hey, I need you right now. Or being the friend who says, I am here for you, whatever you need. Sometimes hope looks like giving Fox Valley Hands of Hope a call and asking, will you walk with me on this journey? Adriana and Eric are here with me this afternoon and have information on how you can reach us or how you can add a tag to our memorial. Sometimes hope looks like starting over, like trying something new, allowing a fresh possibility to enter your mind, your emotion, your heart. Sometimes hope simply looks like kindness to ourselves, to our family, a friend, a neighbor, or yes, even a stranger. Sometimes hope is sitting still and just waiting. Hope is, of course, not the same as a guarantee. It's about unrevealed possibilities for the next minute, the next day, the next year, the next generation. In my religious tradition, we would say that hope is a recognition that God's not done with us yet. Hope certainly does not prevent us from feeling sadness and sorrow. It doesn't magically take away our pain. It does not ignore the 1,000 COVID deaths or the hundreds of other losses stirring our grief the last 2 years. And hope is not the opposite of sadness and sorrow. It is more like the natural extension of the love that we still have to share, the life that we still have to live, the relationships that we still have to nurture, the difference that we have yet to make. Ironically, many times the very things that we breathe become the roots of hope. Today, through this ceremony of acknowledgement and remembrance, we extend our hands of hope, toward one another. We stretch out the roots of this community, providing one another with the strength to grieve honestly, the patience to love compassionately, and the kindness to journey together through our sadness and sorrow into a hopeful future.
Hello, my name's Louise Gately, and I'm going to sing Amazing Grace. When I sing these beautiful Christian songs, I feel like they're prayers. So if you know Amazing Grace, you could sing along with me. I also would like to say that I lost my beautiful mother, Rosemary Thiebold, this year, and it's been really hard. So we all need to pray about this. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas to fear and grace my fears relieve. Just did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. The Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secures. He my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. Through many toils and danger and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace has brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
I have no more words. I too have lost somebody this year. Celebrated the anniversary of that passing yesterday. And I would hope that all of us who have experienced that, via directly or through a friend or a neighbor, reaches out to that individual with a hand of grace, with letting them know that life is still to be lived and to be enjoyed. And the opportunity to smile, and to take joy in a child's laughter, the beauty of a snowstorm will always grace us. This memorial will be up for 1 week. It'll be taken down next Friday. We welcome you to bring a token of remembrance to place it here. Please share this with your friends, family, colleagues, and let them know that it's here so that collectively we begin to heal as a county so we can go forward together with strength, love, and respect for each other. So thank you all very much for coming. Bless you all. And stay well, stay healthy. God bless you. Thank you.